This is not only an attack against me, but against any senator who dares to be outspoken. Pagkatapos ko, sino po ang isusunod sa inyo na mangahas na tumiwalag sa kanilang marcha, na hindi sasayaw sa kanilang marcha or sa kanilang musika? That is why, ultimately, this is an attack on the Senate as an independent institution. We cannot let anyone use the misfortune of this nation in this drug crisis to advance personal or political agendas. We cannot let anyone use the drug crisis we are now facing to silence all dissenting voices. If we let anyone do this, there will be no single voice left to warn us of our backslide to the depths of barbarity. We do not want a situation where not a single dissenter is left to remind the people that they have just traded the drug crisis with another one, the crisis of our failed humanity as a nation. We cannot go on being indifferent to the daily executions without ultimately becoming a nation bound by a collective sociopathy. The day has already come when we can no longer tell who is morally wrong among us. The 9-year-old street child sniffing rugby, or the policeman who shoots the child in the head for sniffing rugby. This is our descent as a nation into the darkness that these men have created for us. Of course, we must face this drug crisis as a nation. So many have already fallen as victims, both in the number of drug users and in the number of ruined families. Yes, Mr. President, indeed, we must wage this war against drugs. But there must be another way. There has to be another way. There must be a way other than this method that brings us to our collective descent into impunity, fear, and ultimately utter and complete inhumanity. We cannot wage the war against drugs with blood. We will only be trading drug addiction with another more malevolent kind of addiction. And this is the compulsion for more killings that have now included even the innocent. There are now more mistaken identities and collateral damage, and the proportion is rising. And why is the proportion of collateral damage rising? Mr. President, impunity, once unleashed, has no boundaries. It does not care who dies. It does not care who suffers. It does not care who the victims are. Impunity has no sense of right or wrong. It is as amoral as it is immoral. As a human rights advocate and human being, I plead to the government, this administration, and to the president. There must be another way. There has to be another way. We must find another way. I fully support the war on drugs, and I sincerely desire its success. I am one with the president in his relentless and sustained campaign to rid our country of the drug menace. Nais ko lang na ang ating mga pulis at iba pang law enforcement agents ay maging totoong mga alagad ng batas, na sumusunod sila sa batas habang pinaiiral ito, na tumatalima sila sa mga patakaran at pamantayan sa pagsugpo ng krimen at pagdakip sa mga nagkasala, na isinasaalang-alang nila ang pangingibabaw ng batas sa kanilang pagtupad sa tungkulin. And my concern is not only the killings tallied by the PNP as a formal law enforcement agency. At least we can put the PNP to task in our official legislative investigations. My gravest concern lies with the vigilantes of the night now operating almost all over the country. Those harbingers of death spreading the apocalypse of our dehumanization. They match with vigor the killings carried out by the official PNP. And these people we cannot serve with the summons of the Senate. They are faceless. They are unaccountable. The Philippine National Police reported 395 alleged offenders killed in alleged police operations from July 1 to August 1. The daily average is as high as 13 dead during the past 1 month. of the current administration. And higher figures are even reported by certain media outlets. And that's now being fleshed, those are now being, the figures are. Mr. President, in this light, I filed proposed Senate Resolution number 9, calling for congressional inquiry in aid of legislation on the spate of extrajudicial killings and summary executions. Ito po ang aking pakay. Palakasin ang gyera laban sa droga at kriminalidad sa pamamagitan ng pagsawata sa mga iligal na pagpatay. Magpanukala ng mga nararapat na batas at alituntunin upang tulungan ang ating kapulisan sa kanilang tamang pagtupad ng tungkulin. At higit sa lahat, palakasin pa ang sistema ng ating mga batas para matiyak ang pag-iral ng batas at paggalang sa karapatang pantao. Malinaw po na ang laban na ito ay hindi lamang pansariling laban ni Leila de Lima. Ito ay laban ng mga karaniwang Pilipino para sa pagbabago, para sa pagyabong ng buhay, para sa kaginhawaan ng pamilya, para sa katiwasayan ng pamayanan, para sa kaayusan ng pamahalaan at para sa kabutihan ng lahat. If this administration is sincerely concerned about the spate of killings of suspected criminals, as it pronounced once before the media, then it should welcome the Senate inquiry. However, even before any Senate resolution was filed, the Solicitor General and the PNP chief have already made pronouncements that they will not attend any Senate inquiry even when invited or summoned. The premature position of some administration officials.
Certain members of the administration are saying, hindi dapat ito unahin na Senate na investigasyon. That doesn't mean it's an attack on the Senate. It is freedom of speech. It is simply saying, sa laki ng problema at dami ng problema, siguro, i-monitor natin, oversight sa human rights, pero in the same manner that our colleague is appealing, listen first, investigate first before judging her. Let me make the same appeal for our president, but actually he doesn't need it. Let me make the same appeal for the PO1s of this country. Those who are making 15,000 pesos only when the cost of living is 25,000 to 35,000 in our major cities. Those PO1s who we tell, hulihin mo ang pusher. Those PO1s who we tell na pag may barel, labas mo rin baril mo, barilin mo rin. Those PO1s who sometimes come home in a casket, or kung hindi man sa casket, in the old administrations, not just the Aquino administration, in many administrations, would come home, nilabanan ang sindikato, anong baon nila pag-uwi? Suspension. At sasabihin sa asawa, wala silang gagawin. So I'm not against investigations, Mr. President, but we have limited time. Napakalaki ng opportunity natin to build this nation. So it's up to each and every chairperson. And I believe in every one of you. Ano bang uunahin ninyo? Now, if the former Justice Secretary and our colleague can come up with facts and not speculation, there are facts, as in the killings. But inimbestigahan din ba niya na isa to? Or is she telling us, ayaw imbestigahan to ng polis? Kasi kung ayaw to imbestigahan ng polis, ibang usapan yun. Pero kung iniimbestigahan to ng polis at hindi pa tayo kumpleto sa facts, and then we will go into that kind of hearings, it is for all of us to ask ourselves now, yan ba ang pinaka-importanting gawin natin ngayon? Yan ba ang pinaka-urgent? And let me also pose this question to all of us, Mr. President. Hindi lang naman po yung mga pulis ang nakabantay at nanonood sa atin ngayon. Nanonood ang mga drug lords. So if there's unintended consequences, like for example, I don't think the Justice Secretary intended to attack the Senate when he attacked one member. But I do know what you mean, my dear colleague, because once upon a time, I was in the opposition and I felt that an attack on me was an attack on the whole Senate. But the police are watching, the NBI is watching, PDEA is watching, the OFWs are watching, and we have to also be careful. If we think, Mr. President, na may hate campaign against the human rights, how do you think the police feel? How do you think the president feels? How do you think the PDEA, the NBI, etc.? Lahat na lang ng jokes tungkol sa politiko, sa police, at saka sa abogado. Lahat ng masasamang jokes. They're the butt of jokes. We're the butt of jokes. We have all the power and resources for image building, Mr. President. The police does not have this. So let me end there, Mr. President, and while welcoming our colleague and committing to her that we will not allow anyone to attack the Senate or destroy the Senate or to stop any senator from conducting their investigation or attending an investigation. It is also left up to us to decide what is most important, how we use our time, and it is up to us to make sure na yung unintended consequence of telling the police, tumigil-tigil muna kayo. Wala pa akong nangyayari. Lastly, Mr. President, naunahan na nga tayo ng Malacanang Many of our colleagues here, which both of us talked to during the last 3 months, have told us, Senator Soto, Senator Recto, Senator Gordon, many of you have proposed rehab centers. You predicted. The President continues to be amazed that more than 100,000 people are surrendering. Ang problema, anong gagawin mo sa mga nagsusurrender? Mga to, yung iba user lang, yung iba addict. Yung addict, pagka walang pupuntahan, babalik at babalik kahanap ng droga. Yung problema, Mr. President, kung hindi ako nagkakamali, shabu is now 200 to 400% more expensive than it was a month ago. In some places, it's 1,000% more expensive, which is good news in the sense that many people will stop and cannot have money, but it's also bad news because the addicts who are violent will rob, will steal, will try to get money to feed their habit. That's why the rehab centers are also urgent. So these are the points that I'd like to attach to the speech of our colleague. Yes, let's stand up for human rights. Yes, let us not allow any unjustified killings. Yes, let us not accuse falsely or let us not accuse without a factual background any senator. But let's also not accuse the police, especially the PNP as an organization, of rub-outs until we have evidence. And when we do have evidence or we have a smoking gun or even just smoke, kung sasabihin natin where there's smoke, there's fire, let's isolate it. So if it was one event here in Pasay, one event in Davao, yun ang sabihin natin. Pero sabihin natin, yung mga polis, o alam naman na polis rub-out, no. Tayo, galit tayo pag sabihin lahat ng politiko corrupt Tapos we will do the same sa police. Anyway, Mr. President, I bid you a good afternoon and thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you, Senator Cayetano.
Mr. Senate President.